Hi guys, welcome to the studio. Today I'm here with Scott Usher, the creative director of Havenlight. We're super excited. This is an exclusive episode, something that we've never done before.
Thank you for having me, Hunter. And I'll tell you what's so unique about how we do what we do is because there's really nobody doing what we do how we do it.
Walk me through the process. How are you picking these artists?
I can let you know, but I have to kill you. It's actually, while it's a visual world, I'll say we listen. The process of selecting art is listening, and you're listening 24/7. Anyone in this company at any time will come to me. I'll get an email, I'll get a text, I'll get whatever it is. The artists that we work with will share. Somebody's just going to be like, hey, I saw this is cool. Or I'll look and I'll see something. I'll grab a quick picture of it. But we are looking 24/7 at imagery everywhere we go. We are, when you go out and you're with collectors and we're doing events and shows and all this stuff, people come in and they're telling us, hey, I kind of like this. I say, are you aware of this? Have you seen that? You file all this away. You pull out your phone and you're going through your Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, and all of this imagery is coming at you 24/7. Mm-hmm. So the first round is just you've got to be open to listening. We have a couple of systems in place that we use. You go to any of our websites, and you could submit artwork to us. Go down to the bottom, and there's a thing that says, become a Havenlight artist, become an artist, valdiasart.com. We look at every single piece of artwork that is sent in to us. We look at every piece of artwork that's shared with us because you never know, and quite frankly, because there is so much, and there's a lot of it that is, I'm not going to say subpar, but not as good as other ones. And what you're looking for all the time is the diamond in the rough. And sometimes that diamond in the rough is younger, and you just recognize that somebody's done something. That's where you have your 10,000 hours come in. You're like, oh, this person's doing something that's crazy unique. It's raw, and we can work with that, and we can help them over time to get their voice to be a little louder. You count on recommendations. We're going to be having a series of shows later in this year, Young Sung Kim and Friends, because Young Sung Kim has sat there and said, I've got these people that I work with over there. In fact, you had the pleasure of being with me.
They're incredible.
We literally had, I don't know how many artists came through Young Sung's studio because Young Sung wanted to share his experience with us. And out of that, we're going to end up with a couple of artists that are really top-notch because somebody was saying, I think this is good, and you just got to have you got to be, sure, show me. I'd love to see what it is that you have. So, you go to galleries, you go to shows, when the church has the International, we are there looking at what's in that space. When Springville has a show. When we go to Texas to see our friends at The Chosen, we're looking at the artwork that's out in that space. Like I say, everywhere you go, you're out there and you're looking at the artwork that is in front of you. You try to have some systems where people can put it in front of you. And then once it comes in the building, I might be a filter, there might be someone else that's a filter, but we then share it with everyone else that's in the company. And the biggest thing to learn is to be like, hey, this piece does or doesn't do anything to me, but I bet you someone else might like it. So making sure that you aren't just saying, you have to be prepared to understand that you don't know everything and listen to what other people are reacting to. And, I'll say this company got hooked up with Young Sung Kim because we had a woman who worked at our gallery that sat there and said this was neat. There wasn't an executive in this building that's responsible for that artwork coming in here. It was someone that worked with us and said, I think this is really good. and we had an executive group that was smart enough to listen to somebody telling them that something was good.
One of my favorite things about being at this company is working with the vast variety of artists that we do, because that's something that I think is so important. Is we're not just picking the best oil painters in the world. We're out in Korea, and you're finding these incredible digital artists. We've got, photographers, AI artists. There's multiple mediums that we're sifting through to just give the most variety that we can to the consumer so that we can invite more light.
Yeah, it's why I use the term listen over see, because you just have to be attuned to what a marketplace is saying. You have to be attuned to what a group of people are feeling. You have to be attuned to how certain images capture a style in a place. And again, the idea is this image is good enough to sit on somebody's wall for 15 years. It's not like this image will pass for the next 3 months and hopefully they'll come back and get something again.
Yeah. I mean, let's dive into that. What are you looking for in an artist or an image that you think that could sit on someone's wall for 20 years?
I'm going to tell you, first and foremost, and I was taught this by a guy pretty early on, can you recognize this artwork from across the room? That means that the individual has a style and a content that is unique to them. And if you just flash into your mind, I'll say Picasso, you have these images flash into your mind. I'll say Dan Wilson, you'll have images flash into your mind. I'll say Young Sun Kim, because they are incredibly unique. Doesn't mean a lot of people tried to copy them afterwards, but you will just say, wow, I can recognize that person from across a room. And I'll say, first and foremost, that means they're probably good. That means they're probably using color. You can then get into all the technicalities beneath it. You can get into the content stuff that's beneath it. But if you can recognize something from across the room, that just says there's something unique and special going on here. And that's a crazy trigger. When I told before, you watch TV and you see an image go by, it locks in and you're like, wow, I got to find what that image was during that show. Or, some influencer had an image that was behind them and you're like, ooh, I got to find what that is. You can either recognize who it was or you like, wow, I could pick that up from across the room at any given time. Consistency. Everybody has a hit in them. There's that thing, everybody's got a single song. Everyone's got a one-hit wonder.
Absolutely.
The key is, can you do it again? Can you do it again? Can you do it again? One song can make a band, and everybody wants to hear that one song. But they really need to have that entire repertoire. So you go to the concerts, and there's the stuff you might like as much as that one song, and you've been listening to it forever, so you kind of know and will follow this person more. Somebody has to be able to create artwork with consistency over time, period. And that is why, again, that's that 10,000 hour concept. They have the ability to deliver the 10,000 hours that complement our 10,000 hours. And probably originality. There are incredible tradesmen, craftsmen, people out there who, like even you and I, if you and I spend enough time, could we sit there and render me or you? Well, sure. If we did enough time, could I render something that was a good facsimile of who I think Christ is or who Mary was or someone like that? Again, we can learn a craft or a trade or something like that. But the stuff that stands out and becomes that 15, 20, 30-year piece of artwork that's hanging on somebody's wall is from somebody that sat there and said, I am so crazy passionate about this subject that I can give it my own voice, my own take, my own perspective in a way that nobody else can. I like to use this thing. You say, it's the person that comes in and says, I paint steam engines from 1856 to 1858. And if you ask me to paint anything else, I'm going to kill you. I'm like, wow, I really want to see your steam engine paintings, because either you're absolutely insane, or they are the craziest things that you've ever seen, and they're going to be awesome because of that level of passion and originality that's going into that space. Like I say, it's you're looking for passion. You're looking for that level of commitment to what the person is doing.
So if you could summarize what you're looking for in the next up-and-coming artist, or artists that we sign, or even artists that we work with, how would you resume that in 3 simple things?
I can recognize your artwork from across the room, period. You can replicate that. It wasn't a mistake. You have consistency. You create with consistency because people want artwork that the person can do it more than once. And you want it to be original. Like I say, anybody can follow a trend. It stands out when it is completely unique from everything else that you see.
What sets Havenlight apart? Why is it so unique to do what we do?
You take your this concept of 10,000 hours. If we have 50,000 hours, we have 70,000 hours, because there's no one single individual at this company that's making everything happen. I might not have my dark hair anymore, so that just gives me a couple extra hours no matter how you cut it. But we have people that have been here for 3 months. We have people that have been here for 30 years. And then you take people that have been in the industry for maybe 40, or I wouldn't say 50 years, because that would date me a little bit. But, we have people that have been in this business for a heck of a long time. And then a number of the artists that we work with, if you start rolling all that together, like I say, you have tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of hours of people putting things together.
Yeah, I think it's super important to note we're not a 3-man show. We've got over 150 artists. We've got tons and tons of framers and a full marketing team. This is not a one-man show.
Failure's an orphan. Success has many fathers. And actually, what? That makes me think Howard Lyon said one of the things he liked most about us, I would throw this in as one of our points, what makes us better, we're not afraid to fail.
Yeah.
After a while, you realize that you have to make mistakes to get things that are going to work. You have to be willing to take chances. So I didn't even have this on my list at first, but I'll turn around and say, oh my gosh, we're willing to take chances. Because if you do not take those chances, you are not going to the places that you are not at already. So I just say, that's a huge part of it. We have a mission for our content. We're not trying to figure out who we are or what it is that we do. We invite the light. If that image does not invite light, the light of Christ, the light of the Lord, the light of whatever you want to be, the light of a beautiful landscape, beautiful creation into your home, it does not belong in our space. It makes it really easy. Like I say, have a mission, have a distinct understanding of what it is that we're trying to do, and that makes a huge difference. The other thing is, we don't follow trends. It's a little arrogant to sit there and say, we make the trend. Trends kind of happen. But when you start talking about art and artists and things like that, it's usually an individual that does something really cool and unique, and then everyone's on the train. Take that whole beige art thing that's been going on for a couple of years. There was 1 or 2 people that kind of did that initially, had some success, and everybody jumped on the bus. And so, again, whoever was kind of at the forefront of that, the idea of just saying, this is what I think is nice. This is what I think is neat. This follows my mission, and it looks good. That is not following a trend. That's making a trend. The other thing is understanding that a piece of artwork, once it gets real estate on a wall, is there for much longer than anybody thinks it's going to be. Think of your own home growing up. When you were 5, there was a piece of artwork on the wall. And when you left the home at 20, or whenever you finally left home, maybe you were 30, but I don't know. I think you were younger. When you left home, chances of that piece of artwork still having been there is incredibly high. Once art gets real estate in a space, it has a tendency to really be there for a long time. So we know that, and we implicitly understand that. The idea is that whatever we're creating is not disposable. We're expecting it to be influencing and inviting light into somebody's home for the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Oh, absolutely. We don't make disposable art. We pride ourselves on quality. We're making gold leaf frames by hand the same way they did in the Renaissance. We're making stuff for temples and cathedrals for the Pope because we pride ourselves on quality.
Oh, yeah. And quality is just not content. You know, it's the substrates that we choose to print on, the inks that we choose to use that make a difference in the vibrancy of how a piece of artwork looks. We spend time color correcting imagery when it comes in so that it reproduces better with the inks and the substrates we choose to use so that the artwork lasts longer, so that the artwork has its best chance to be delivering the content that it provides.
Yeah, and to live on that wall for 10, 20, 30 years.
10, 20, 30 years. Like I say, once something gets real estate, it has the tendency to remain.
Absolutely. Well, Scott, I just want to say thank you for coming in. This has been super fun. We'll have to do it again. Awesome. There's 10,000 hours of your brain that I think everyone would love to hear picked apart. You've got an absurd amount of experience in the business, and we just want to thank you for coming on the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me here.